my name is Christine Hall, and today I'll be recording for my unit, Participate in Cataloging Activities. Okay, so hi Brad, thanks for meeting with me today.
Hi Christy, what can I do for you?
Well, you've asked me to put together something, just information for volunteers when they come in to help service library users when they come asking for books or searching on subjects. And so I've put together some information, and I'd like to run through it with you if I can. Okay, great. Okay, so when the library volunteer comes in, I'll be explaining to them our policies and procedures, and there's two that I'll be going over with them. One will be the cataloging policy, and the second one will be the process for library resources. So the cataloging policy, it helps us to maintain consistency of resources information within the library management system. It also helps organize and manage the library resources, and it provides and maintains easy access and circulation to those resources. So it's very important that we follow that policy. And so the first thing when a resource comes into the library, we are going to create a bibliographic record. And in order to create that record, we have two different ways of inputting information from that resources. The first is that most libraries use in Australia is from the Library of Congress, and we get MARC records from there. And MARC records is a system that uses data elements that can be read by a computer, and it retrieves all that information and then translates it to another computer. And with that, the Library of Congress has the largest number of resources and bibliographic records there. So we can take from that the Library of Congress, and we can save and copy and bring it into our system, and that's called copy cataloging. So we copy someone else's catalog record and we can bring it into ours. That's one way. The second way is doing an original cataloging. And original cataloging is where we have the resource itself, and there's two main components of that resource that we can gather information. One is from the descriptive component, and those are information we get directly from the resource itself. So we can open up a book, let's say, see the title page, we get the title and author, and you can flip that page over, and that on the back of that first page is going to be a page called the Verso page. And on that page we can find the distributor, the publisher, the date it was published, any editions, any information like that. And those are those descriptive components that we take from the resource. And the second component is called access components, and those access components help you with searching. So when you come to a catalog, you can search in an author, a title, you can search a subject term, anything like that. So those are two components that you'd have for inputting the catalog information, and that's called original cataloging. Okay, so I'm going to show here you my screen, and I'm going to open up Library World. So when a library user comes in and they want to find a certain book or a subject, and we're going to type in, somebody's looking for Steven Spielberg. And I've entered it in our search bar, and I'm going to search up our category. And right here we have different movies that he's been involved with here. And we have one book here that's called Steven Spielberg, A Life in Film. So I'm going to click on that so we can bring up the bibliographic record here. And in this record we can find the different aspects to those two components, descriptive and access.
What do the parts of the catalog record mean?
Well, that's what those are. So the descriptive and the access components. And we looked at here, we can see descriptions. When we open that book, we see the title. We can also see the identifier, which is the ISBN number. We also see the kind of type. If it's text, we can see how many pages it has. And then also we can all see that access information if we're searching by the access. So we have topical terms, we have motion pictures, performing arts, biographies. This book is a biography. So those are the two components, and that's what those parts mean. Okay, and so if we come down this record, we can also see what holdings we have for the different copies. And here it's showing us here on the screen that we have one copy. We have that it's in our branch right now, ABPL, and we can see it has this barcode, and we have a call number here. It's B791HAS. And so this call number, it has three parts to it. This first letter in B, and that's the location code. I'm just gonna bring up my thing. So we've got a location code, we've got a call number, which are those numbers in the middle, and then we have a call cutter, which is the surname, the first three letters in the surname of the author. Okay, so those are the different parts. And the collection code is the location of the collection. So I'm going to go back to this here. Oops, let's try that again. So it has a B here. So B, and I'm going to open up our cataloging policy to our appendix, which is the collection codes, and we can see all different collections. We've got adult fiction, biographies, we have junior fiction, DVD fiction, and each one has a separate code. We go through that. And we also see the next section, which is the call number, and we can see if it has a Dewey Decimal System. And it tells you it's usually the non-fiction books or DVDs or ebooks that usually contain a Dewey Decimal number. Okay, and I'm going to flip back to that cataloging. So ours has 791, and I'm just going to write down this call number right here that's on the bibliographic record. Okay, and I'm going to head back here.
What's the Dewey Decimal number?
So the Dewey Decimal number is it's a classification system. And all Australian libraries use the Dewey Decimal classification system. It's a consistent way to identify resources located on the shelf in the library. And within this classification system, all human knowledge is divided into 10 classes represented by 3 numbers. And those classes can then be divided into 10 more divisions and then continue on through the process. And if you look here on the screen, I've made a slide of the Dewey Decimal Classification, the 10 main categories. And then here I have an example taking of how to read one. Here's 700, 790, 796. So you can understand what kind of subjects are determined in that area. Also, you can also use in a call number. The Library of Congress has its own classification.
What's the Library of Congress?
Well, we've looked at that before, and it's one of the largest libraries, but this classification process, it uses numbers and letters to identify a resources within the library. And this, in this system, the human knowledge is divided into 21 main classes, and they are identified by a letter and an alphabet. A letter in the alphabet. And those classes are divided into subclasses represented by 2 to 3 letters, and each subclass can further be divided into divisions. And those divisions are identify form, place, time, and subtopics. And those, when it's down to that subclass, they're represented by numbers. So it's a different classification scheme than the Dewey Decimal System, but most libraries and us at ABPL use the Dewey Decimal System in that way. Okay, and so after we have all the information in that catalog system, we then prepare the book or whatever the item resource is for processing, and that's where the processing library resource procedures come into play. Okay, so when all the information is within our system, we're going to take that information and put it on the book. And we do that by using spine labels that have the classification and call number on that, because that's where the book's located in our library. We can also cover the books for protection. We can use clear contact for that. The books can also have a genre label. You can put a security system in. So it's just preparing that resource to sit on the shelf, okay? Do you have any questions so far with all this information? No. Okay. So the last thing we do after the library user has come in, asked, for to help them search the library, we've looked at the record, we have the call number. Now all we have to do is go find that resource on the shelf. Okay. So you always want to write down that number and take it with you so you have it. It's a little harder to keep it in your mind and remember them. So we're going to go to B, ours is B, so we're going to go to biographies, that section. We're going to find the shelving unit and shelf that contain the Dewey Decimal System number 791. And then we're going within that shelf, we're going to find in alphabetical order as listed of the author's surname, and then we're going to find HAS. So once you find that on the shelf, you'll have the book that you've just looked for in our catalog system. So do you have any other questions on that, on how to retrieve that from the library shelf?
No. Is there anything that can be improved in the catalog to help people find items?
Yes, the main information needs to be accurate. So there needs to be a continual maintaining of our library system for the most accurate and up-to-date information for the resources. And once everything is accurate in our library management system, it makes it easy for a user to search up a book or search up a subject and access the information that they need. So that's probably the most important thing that always needs to be changing and updating in our system.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the conclusion of my process of talking to a volunteer. Do you think there's anything I need to add or change within my presentation?
No, I thought it was very clear and very helpful. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, and if you do have any more questions, feel free to contact me, and I'll be happy to answer any more questions. So
Okay.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.